Hey,
Hi.
hey, hey. Always, always, always. There's some new changes going on with technology. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Unfiltered and Intentional.
Yes.
Now, later on when you're bored, have nothing to do, but just thanks for tuning in, just in general. I
Right.
said, I started off saying always something different because the little opening that we normally would do, it just completely changed. And I'm rushing because I just came back in the house, just to throw it out there, Liz. Because I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, guys, we missed a couple of weeks
We did.
from
Yes.
Easter and then last week. So much has happened from that time frame. But I came back from Epic Universal, and that's like the
Hmm.
new
Yes.
theme
How
park.
was it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was good. It was good. It was definitely good. But for those people out there who want to take the family to something new,
Okay.
entertaining,
I
it's
didn't realize they
definitely.
were open already.
Well, they started off with doing like something for pass holders, but then they just kind of opened it up for everybody. So if you are in
Okay.
Florida and you want to check that out, definitely go ahead.
Okay.
But once again, we're not going to be talking bullshit about the president at this moment. It's funny because Liz is like, let's try not to go there,
I
but
need a
somehow,
break.
yeah, yeah, you know what? We all need breaks, but it is what it
Yes.
is. But with that being said, I want to talk about the movie Sinners.
Okay.
And I will be talking a little bit about some spoilers. So if you haven't seen it by now,
Spoiler
because it came
alert.
out, I want to say sometime April the 15th was the day I think it came out, that week of April the 15th.
Hmm.
So yes, I want to talk about Sinners because it was a awesome movie in my opinion, and in others as well.
Hmm.
It actually didn't do too much marketing. It actually blew up by word of mouth. So the
Hmm.
traditional get out there, grassroots, see people, we can do it if we
Hmm.
try.
Yep.
The actual movie, they made the movie, I want to say they was given like 90 million. Ryan Coogler, working with Warner Brothers, and went ahead with an awesome cast, and they made this movie. As of today, they have in total $236.7 million earned.
Wow.
179 is domestically, and I think it was like 55 million internationally. But I think it's Oscar worthy. Maybe people may disagree in reference to, well, what part. Um, I'm talking about cinematography. I'm talking about the score. I'm talking about all those things, that go into a movie production.
Yeah. What part?
Yeah, well, you know why? You know what? You know why? Because
Um,
there are certain parts in the movie that you're like, oh shit. Like, oh, wow, okay. And I'm
okay.
not talking about the fact that Michael B. Jordan is fine as hell and you get to see him twice playing
Gorgeous.
two different roles.
Gorgeous. He really is, isn't he?
I actually had a favorite. My favorite was Smoke because I like a serious type of brother.
Okay.
Stack, excuse me. He was a charismatic, with that awesome smile, showboating. But at the end of
Okay.
the day, and we can go into all that. I do see a comment in saying that said that the movie was so good, and I'm glad you got to go ahead and see that.
Hmm.
A lot of criticism though. There were a lot of criticism for this movie. In when it first released, the New York Times had released with a big asterisk. Like, hey, what's going on? Is this going to be something that's a huge thing?
Hmm.
So I'm just wondering why. Well, and I think I know the reason, but I just want to hear it. Let the audience marinate and talk about it. Why
Okay.
is it that when we make shit for ourselves, it's
Hmm.
always a fucking issue? I know it's a rhetorical question. I know.
Like, is
But
that
tell
so?
me, how did you feel about the movie? What I mean, are we giving it a applause, thumbs up? How many tomatoes are you rating it? Like, what's going on?
Well, just to kind of sort of answer your question, they really, really hated the halftime show too. Like, not everything is for everyone. And I do think that's fair. First of all, art is meant to be subjective, and
Mhm.
you know, if it's not polarizing, is it really art?
Mm.
You know what I mean? If it's not subjective, if people, some people are gonna love it and some people are gonna hate it, and I mean, I think that's kind of what some people are gonna get it, some people are not gonna get it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's no different than going to any museum and seeing, you know, paintings. And some people think it's just the most beautiful. They can stand there and cry, and other people are looking at it like, the fuck is this shit? You
And you
know?
know what? And Liz, I'm sorry to cut you off. And this is a conversation we had prior to the show. Don't
Mhm.
talk politics. I'm only talking politics for 5 seconds. And the only reason why I'm saying it is because if you want to know about African American history slash culture in
Mhm.
a visual representation, because of course we can all pick up a book right now, we can all get on the internet or whatever, but I'm talking about actually, embracing and walking around. And there is a national museum in Washington D.C.
Oh, you're
and
going.
it's now being
Oh my
purged.
gosh, why are
I
you
know
doing
I
that?
wasn't supposed. I wasn't supposed to, but it's going to bring back to the movie. It's actually being purged as the new administration is talking about. So if you're wanting to say, and then the reason why I'm bringing it up because when I seen it on IMAX, which Ryan Coogler wanted everybody to see it if they possibly in IMAX, it took you in the Delta of 1932. It took you there in the actual environment, so you're like, wow, what is this? And from people who don't know too much about that area, that time frame, I was even thinking about the fact that there were Asian Americans there servicing African Americans and then going across the street and then serving white Americans, in two different things. So they've been on the corner stores, you know what I'm saying, and being supply chains for a long time. But just in the aspect of, hey, I want to take my little one. I want to go up to the museum. What is this? We
Mm.
started blues music. We did what? Where is this coming from? A lot of our museums are being shut down, being purged. So I think that this year, if you haven't noticed, and continuing forward, the arts is where it's going to be at in reference to paying homage to our culture, um, waking people up, giving people ideas, having conversations. You mentioned the Super Bowl. Who wasn't talking about the Super Bowl? If you were sitting on the toilet when the Super Bowl was going on, the next minute when everything was over, you was gonna, what? They're not like us. What's that about? Who's not like us?
In that game again? No, no, no. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So when you have people throwing shade to your shit, I
Mhm.
think this is going to, and we're seeing it more and more, where we're going to just have to do our own thing. And we're doing well.
Mhm.
Oh God, I'm mentioning politics. We're doing well with boycotting, with
Yes,
Target.
this has been that's been going well. Yes.
So and guess what, guys? Guess what? At the end of the day, the $236 million that movie made, we did that. We did that with social media. We did that by talking about it, by seeing it 2 times, 3 times. We did that. So when you have the box off, and not even that, just to give Ryan Coogler some props. And I don't know if you knew this, Liz. I had to take a picture of it because it was a lot to talk
Okay.
about. Well, basically, Ryan Coogler had came up with a deal. So he
Mm-hmm.
gets the first dollar gross box office revenue and ownership of his film 25 years after its release. This arrangement allows him to retain creative control, receive financial returns earlier than typical studio deals, and ultimately his own rights to the film.
Mm-hmm.
Here's more detail about how it breaks down. For the final cut, Coogler had complete creative control over the final version of the film, which is wow. If you guys seen the film, there's a part in there cinematographically, just about the culture. It's like, whew. And that's the part when they're in the barn and Sam is playing. So for him having that creative control, how many times we as a people have a story to tell And they're like, no, I need you to do it this way.
Water it down a little bit.
Exactly. You're
put
going
it
too
this
harsh,
way.
Liz. Yeah, you're too ethnic. Yes, yes. Um, then the first dollar gross, Coogler will receive a share of the box office revenue starting from the first dollar earned rather than waiting for the studio to get their investment first. That is like, yes, I want my cut off top.
Off top. Yes.
That's the way it should be. Everybody else who has those type of deals get it. Why can't he? When do African Americans get their deals off top? Okay, come on. And then rights reservation. The rights to Sinners will revert back to Coogler after 25 years. Now, of course, you guys are like 25 years, but in actuality, think about all these movies when they do the remakes, The Wizard of Oz, The Wicked Play, the this and this, the this and this. They're talking about spinoffs from the movies. How did the Smokehouse Brothers become who they are? What about the Native American? Like, so thinking about all these other little things. So this is a great way to pay homage to the culture, to put money in our pockets first, to employ our people, and tell a story the way we want to tell a story before anybody says ixnay on that movie name.
Not the movie.
My little big Latin. No, and it's crazy, Liz, because these terms that are considered unusual for Hollywood, some studios are actually expressing their feelings, saying that they have to stop these type of deals before it gets out of control. And what that tells me, that dog whistle that I'm hearing, is if me and Liz say, you know what, let's go ahead and do a production company. You know what, we're good communicators. We have visions. Let's do this. And we go ahead and we start our own production company, and it gets big, it gets traction. Then you have somebody, a little greedy little asshole, coming through, saying what the hell that they want to say, trying to get our money and stuff off top and changing our direction. So yeah. Oh, here's
they can't. Leslie said they can't stand to see us be great.
They can't. It burns them. Literally, they set themselves on fire.
So Cash said downplaying Black success and highlighting Black failure is how you maintain the cast.
Definitely. Definitely. And it's interesting that you say that, because forget about that group in the corporate America. I'm also thinking about the fact that there are people like us, our own people will shoot you down. Our own people will say trifling things about you. You know, there was a part in the movie, and I won't give out too many spoilers. There was a part in the movie where the Smoke is grieving over his baby that passed away, and his significant other, his fling, his woman, whatever you want to call her.
It's a fling, but okay.
Well, the reason why I say fling is because it looks as if there's been some space between them. So she's like, what do you want?
Just come home from war too.
Okay. We'll take that. However you want to say that relationship was.
Okay.
But there were people that said, you know what? I felt like that was his mama or his auntie. And that really, really bothered me, because we do not see a full-size, dark-skinned woman take a lead in a romantic lead. Normally, it's the mammy figure. It's the nurturer. It's never the actual love interest. The love interest would be the fair-skinned maiden, you know, with the handkerchief and everything. So, you know, I was really, really shocked at the fact that a lot of people were thinking that it was like, what's going on here? Is incest happening? Like, no, you idiot. Did you not hear that they lost a baby? Did you not? You're like, what is going on? But besides that, I really do believe they always downplay Black success. It's always something. But sometimes we do it to ourselves, Liz, that Black success. I'm talking about that Club Shay Shay.
Oh, ooh. Wow. That was not a soft pivot at all, Kia.
Well, we talking about Black success.
I mean, I'm just saying. Sometimes you can set yourself up for failure too, though. I mean, who does he have to be mad at?
Well, just to give the audience a little glimpse of what's going on, if you haven't been tuning in, we got Shannon Sharpe. A lot of people know him just because of the history of him being in the NFL and the whole big deal from there if you follow sports. And he's been on many, many different shows. You know, I think he even has some type of Hall of Fame type of statue as well, you know, in that type of realm. But with that being said, for all the young YNs out there, you know, we know him from Club Shay Shay. And Club Shay Shay is basically where he brings on other, you know, people, entertainment business and different genres. And he kind of gets real with them and does kind of that interview style, asking questions. And hey, Liz, I heard about that scandal. And where'd you mess up at? And, you know, and giving it to you raw while they drink some yak and talk about it. And if anybody has ever watched Club Shay Shay or watched social media, there would be clips of the other individual kind of cutting up, kind of telling it like it is, talking about how you should date your age, how you should date within your race, how you should not rob the cradle. And they would have these conversations. Now, I would like to know. Oh, go ahead.
I said that seems very, very direct. No. You can go ahead, because once I get going, it's going to be hard to shut me up. So go ahead.
I would like to know from the men out there.
Ooh.
I know there's a couple of guys listening.
Okay.
For the men out there, why is it when a black man, and I'm only talking to my brothers right now, when a black man gets successful, right? When they have lots of money and they're doing big things and they're taking care of the kids in the community and they got the kid on the shoulder, they're making commercials, they're just doing it. Why is it that when they are trying to settle down or find that other individual or play the field, that they do not play within their zone? I'll put it that way, because that has a lot of little implications there. Why do you not date within your zone? Why is this man 56 years old dating a teeny tiny 19, 20-year-old?
What I will say while we get the men to kind of get their thoughts together in the comment section is, who are we kidding? He was not trying to settle down there. Like, he was in his zone trying to score, or scoring, I guess you would say, right? But not, I don't think that was ever meant to be the wife. But it is a fair question. And you guys remember that song Gold Digger? Kanye said it real plain. He said, when you get on, he'll leave you ask for a white girl. And he did too. So, I mean, so it is a thing. It is a thing, right? And then he went crazy. But it's been ongoing for a very, very, very long time. And I think that's a fair question. Because when you were nobody and you were stuck on the block, it was the block that was holding you down, right? You know what I mean? And then
it was the hood chick that was holding you down.
All the way down. And then, you know, you got on and moved on. I don't really understand.
Ladies who are listening to the show, do you feel that when a man is making that extra coin, are they kind of forgetting y'all and moving on to something else? Because at one point, I would think to myself, well, you know, maybe it's your circle. Because if you don't have no money, normally you hanging around people who don't have no money too. Both of y'all broke asses just hanging around each other, just, you know, trying to think about how y'all gonna come up on the come up. But when you start making money, you end up being in situations where you're around people that make money. Different environment, different clubs, different, areas of partying, you know, like you wouldn't see a Beyonce in your neighborhood local, you know, bar. Just a different type of tone. So I'm just very curious. I used to think, is it because the fact that you're removing yourself from the neighborhood, from the block, so you just can't find a match, or is it you're just not choosing to find someone equally in your stature?
That is a bullshit excuse. So
you think it's a bullshit excuse?
That is a bullshit excuse, or whatever the case is. Because the same way you just arrived, you can take anybody there with you. Anybody you want can get in the car and go with you to the club, or to the scene, or to the restaurant, or to the meetings, or whatever. So,
can you though? And I'm gonna say this only just to talk about Jay-Z real quick. So Jay-Z, for people who follow rap music, he had Beanie Siegel, he had Freeway, he had a whole group with him, and you notice that his audience changed when he went globally with Beyonce. Like, I don't think you could take hood individuals and bring them to the yacht parties. Like, it's just a certain mentality. You're not going to take certain,
I mean, he did take Beyonce.
But I think he took Beyonce for a business move. I think it was like, not saying he didn't like her, but strategically that was a great business move for Jay-Z.
I mean, but he could have gotten
Paris. You couldn't take a Foxy Brown to the yacht party. Like, you get what I'm saying?
People that actually, I mean, he kind of stuck with it or whatever the case is. I mean, he could have gotten him some blonde too.
And which there have been rumors. I mean, I guess the only
talk about Becky, right? You know, but
I don't want to make it a per se a race thing. I'm thinking maybe a age thing. Because people come in all types of shades now, so you don't know who's who. But I do understand that the mindset is where I think Black men, they F up. Why would a man rich as hell, could do anything, can be anywhere, can go anywhere, I mean the power's at the tip of his fingers. This is even going with all the men. I mean, a Diddy and all these individuals that are in that why would a man at your level put yourself in a predicament where now all that girl has to say, hey, you was being fresh to me? I mean, don't you understand? If you want to screw somebody, but look, if you wanted to screw somebody, you screw them, all right? And that was the end of it, and they go about their business. If you wanted to be a casual booty call here and there, okay, but you still know, they said that this man was going on like 2 years on and off with this chick. This wasn't like a one day type thing, and she recorded him, and they was talking about the black gravy baby and all types of shit. Like, what is going on, Black men? And I know the Black men is in this audience, and they is not typing in. What the hell is going on?
No one knows that high here. Nobody does, right? Okay. So, I mean, since they won't answer, let's talk a little bit. How unfiltered are we trying to get here?
Let's get real unfiltered, because I have questions to the Black men. Okay. What's going on? Y'all can't go nowhere with this? Go ahead.
So, I find that I can't even put it in the words exactly. And I'm talking about all the way back to even when I was in school, like, you know, high school, if you would. There's some real challenges and like some complexes there on both ends, right? Like, I think for the women and for the men. And we never really get to the heart of what's really going on. Like, never, ever, ever, right? So, for example, we know, we've talked about it on the show before. We talked about it not on the show before, right? And so, first of all, the standards of beauty, the height of beauty is European. They tend to fall along the lines of European beauty standards. Even for men that prefer women of color, they still prefer women of color that have Caucasian features, right? You have to. I mean, that's just what it is, right? You know, the fairer skin gets more attention, the longer hair gets more attention. These days, even down to like eyelashes, you know what I mean? And so if we're getting into the nitty gritty or whatever the case is, right? The darker the complexion, the less likely you are to have an abundance of long hair, just as an example, right? Mm-hmm. So we've already kind of got a stigma in terms of what's considered beautiful. And so to answer your question, when you're on the block, if that's what you have access to, I mean, then I guess in some way in your mind, you're settling. And when you can do better in your mind, you do better. But the funny thing about that is better usually comes with a whole lot of problems. You know,
but I think once again, and it's so funny because the show is unfiltered and intentional. And I love the title. The title was like, you know, the best thing to me because I feel like for both of us, we're unfiltered. And what that basically means is we say what it is. We say it in the correct timing. You know, we don't have that capture. But the intentional part is when you actually are doing things, saying things, creating things. Everything that you do has an intent. there's a reason behind why you do. I don't carelessly do stuff.
Right.
So if this black men
Mhm.
intentionally say, you know what, I want to build my money. I want to have a shorty. I want to have a woman that I know that's going to be right there watching my bank account, not out there, you know what I'm saying, trying to steal or whatever. She's holding me
Right.
down. I'm
Right.
holding her down. And then, like I said, it's not even about the race necessarily.
Mhm.
It's in a general sense about why is it that you're not looking for somebody that has your best intentions? Because you would think if you're a successful business individual that you would want to be around people that surrounded yourselves. You'd be intentional. You would literally be intentional about who you associated with. Just
But
like right now,
being a successful person with being a successful business person, or with being an intelligent person.
well, take this.
They're not
Both of us are employed, right? The people that are listening are employed. We're
Mhm.
not going to say certain things because we know that, hey, one day somebody from our employment may hear this. We're intentionally changing certain things, not talking about certain things just because we know it's not supposed to affect our paper. So
Right.
how is it that we are intentional,
Mhm.
but the black man that's so successful cannot be that way? Shannon Sharp would go on the TV show and he would talk and interact with people like, man, I can't believe you messed up. I can't believe you was dating the young girl instead of the mama. Like he's actually
Mhm.
advocating for the opposite. He was doing some shady shit on the other end. Let's go to this
Isn't that
comment.
always the case?
Let's go to this comment. Thank you, men, for finally commenting.
So Cash said 85% of black men are married to black women, but also when racism is taught, it's not just taught to white people.
To look up that statistic.
I need to know, because first of all, marriage is on the decline. And
Yeah, let's go back to his comment.
Right. So if you have 10 out of every 100 that are getting married and 8.5 of them happen to be marrying black women, that still doesn't account for the other 90% that's not getting married. And if they are hooking up, who they're hooking up with.
Well, and I have to stop real quick because I was going to say, and now I'm talking about men in general, that Cam Newton, I think his name is, the other football player, he has a talk show similar to Club Shay Shay where he has people come on and they're talking personal and they're drinking and getting live. And this one guy, I wish I had his name, he ends up talking about even heterosexual men who have relationships with women, even though they're sexually intimate with women, do not like women. Don't like women. Like, okay, I'm here for the action, but I don't respect them. I think they're beneath me. I treat them, I say whatever. And I love the fact that he mentioned it. If you were to go on YouTube right now, just on YouTube and social media, you'll see so many platforms of men bashing women. And like I said, they'll sleep with them and everything, but they're like, oh, they're no good, and they whine and they complain, they're this and this. Now, at this point, I'm not talking about a race, but if you want to take that statement about, and dissect it, black women are the ones who are at the totem pole. Like, oh yeah, you'll see a couple of black attractive women, but they're not attractive. They're loud, they're ghetto, they're this, they're this, they're this. So it's like going to what he says, racism is still taught indirectly. Because who do you think is listening to these shows? Who do you think is listening to this? At the end of the day, I do think it has to do with men just not liking women, just in a general sense. They're only good for. I mean, did you see the text messages? Did you hear the messages that he was saying to this girl?
I mean, yeah, but
he's fucking crazy.
I mean, come on, as usual, right? To some extent, she must have liked this. She kept coming back for more, and.
Is that what we're going with? Okay.
100%. That's what we're going with. And it wasn't even, I mean, because I read the messages or whatever. To me, they seem very clearly sexual. I mean, it was not the same as, you remember last week when I beat your ass? Like, it wasn't that, right? It was very much, come get some of this mandingo. It's a very different thing, right? I don't equate what he was saying to Diddy beating the shit out of Cassie by the elevator. It's not the same thing, not even close. So
I don't know. At the end of the day, our black men are very intelligent. Why in a million years? Because he tried to pay her off prior to this even coming off. You know what I'm saying? Giving her $10 million to shut her up. And then that big time lawyer was like, Ixnay on the millionaire. We want more.
Figure that in your pocket here.
Let's see some men chiming. And I really want to talk to them. What is going on with these men? Okay.
Allison said, I think you take advantage of the opportunities in your surroundings. Maybe you engage with your local females as you travel and experience more, you engage with others. Nothing against sisters.
But once again, I feel like that statement is possibly true. But in your travels, why are you not being intentional? Why are you being careless? You ever see these chicks? I'm pregnant. I'm late. What the fuck you not wrapping your shit up for? What's happening here? Now you're wondering why you're on child support. Now you're wondering why she's shaking it down.
Later than mine. Why aren't you traveling with your bae from the hood? Like
that too.
Like why isn't she with you?
I mean, and you know what? Just to play devil's advocate, there could be a million reasons why a man wants to be single, right? I'm enjoying my life. I'm a single guy. I was married for whatever years. I'm divorced now. Whatever. I want to have a good time. There could be 1,000 reasons why he doesn't have his significant other or that girl that's going to hold him down. But why are you not being intentional about your money? If you know that the system is here and you're fighting so hard to keep that money in your pocket, my coins. What have you know what irks me? And I'm going to laugh. You know what irks me? If you go to social media right now and you see videos about men and their child support and their baby mamas, they be having videos. Look at this trifling hoe. I can't believe it. She can't even feed her kid, her other 2 kids. Excuse me, why was you fucking this trifling hoe? Like, what in your brain made you stick your dick in her cooch? Like, what in the world?
I think that you're missing the point. I think they are being intentional. I think that,
you just want to be just fucking everything.
There's some level of clout or pride that comes with, I was able to get. I mean, and by the way, let's be fair, because right now I feel like we're piling on the men a little bit. But tell me, you personally do not know many a Black woman that is out here proud of the white man that they landed. Like, that's their greatest accomplishment in life is, I got me a white man. Or, you know what? Next time, I'm going to go out and get me a white man. Or whatever that is. Tell me you don't know any of them.
I do know women, and I have heard women like, look what I got in the bank. Their reasons, I think, are a little bit different, though. Not saying that they're valid, but the reasoning behind it is different.
Okay, school me. I'm so here.
Meaning, let's just say, for instance, even though you can relate to your Black man and the struggles and this, they want stability. I've heard Black women say, I want to make sure that the security, women want security, right? They want to make sure that the bills are paid. They want to make sure that they have the finest things in life or whatever that looks like. And the white man or a man that's well established can provide that for them. So they are using it as a trophy. Like, I'm intentionally, because there are social media platforms where it's Black women.
That's different than a man saying the same thing. I'm looking for a woman that's stable and not crazy. Because
I think the thing is, but the difference between Shannon Sharpe and this Black woman that's searching for the white man is we're talking about somebody who is making, I think he ended up having like some $100 million contract like coming up or whatever. I mean, these people are making buku dollars. Okay. So when you have buku dollars on the line, aren't you supposed to be intentional about your thing? And your bank account? That's like right now.
You're not going to suddenly get intentional when you're big.
Well, here's the thing. Think of all the big time men that have big bank accounts. They intentionally try to find the best accountant. They intentionally trying to find people they could trust with their money so they don't get a Wesley Snipes type of shit going on like, hey, you haven't paid your taxes in 5 years or whatever. You don't hear these things with Diddy or Jay-Z or even Shannon Sharpe and at these big time celebrities where they intentionally try to find people to hold their money down. So I guess my thing is, if you're going to bring somebody that close to you, why are you not being intentional about who you screw? If you don't want the DM phone call or the text like, oh, I'm pregnant, I missed my period. Why are you just dating these? Why are you not wrapping the fuck up? And not even that. Forget about pregnancy. What about all the foreign shit that you could get from STD? Like what? I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah, okay. No. Al said, it's not like that's the only woman he was engaging with. He just had the accidental Instagram post screaming Michelle's name. He's not exactly known for being attractive.
That's funny.
I mean, it's true. It's
That
funny.
wasn't an accident. Anybody has social media, anybody's doing anything online, you have to go through steps to turn on live. That wasn't an accident.
Not an
I don't
accident.
believe that was an accident. It's like 4 steps you have to go live.
No, none of this is an accident. He's trying to prove that he's some stud, right? He can pull whomever. You know what I mean? He found him some little Minnie Mouse that he can make scream, whatever. Right? But Allison said at this point he's taking advantage of the women throwing themselves after him for his money. Women are also part of the problem. Every woman wants a man with money. You're not willing to invest. They're not willing to invest, but they want the man with the money.
You know what? I think society says that that's the case, that the woman's not willing to invest. I also feel that there's a time in a woman's age, and this I'm only talking about women, because I think that there's a huge difference. A lot of people think that just because they have a dick swinging between their legs, that makes them a man. A lot of people think because they have a vagina between their legs, that makes them a woman. Those two things, your genitalia does not define you as, hey, I'm a man, I'm a woman, scientifically. But we're not talking science. We're talking something else. We're talking about your ethics, your morals, what you've been through, all these different things that shape you into, are you a man? Are you a woman? Do you handle your responsibilities? Do you scapegoat? And you hear that all the time. I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man. Sit your ass down. And with that being said, a lot of women who struggle, a lot of single moms who are out there, a lot of people who have been through the ringer, they say, you know what? I'm not struggling no more. I am worthy. And I'm not going to be looking at the lowest of the barrel. I'm going to find somebody that's equally on my level. So yeah, I'm not willing to invest because I've already invested in myself. So you bring your shit up to my game. Oh, sorry. I'm just sorry, my little tantrum.
I disagree.
Okay, talk about it.
I just do. I feel like no matter how much of a great cook you are, right? You don't cook dinner on Monday night and then think that you should just have food in front of you on Friday if you ain't cook again. Like every time you want to eat, you have to cook. That's how that works, right? So, you can't go with, I already invested in myself. I already went to school. First of all, that was 20 years ago. Yes, you already went to school. Yes, you already got the job. Yes, but you only met this man today. What makes you automatically have a right to their bank account or to their purse? Because you already did your work for you. What's that got to do with him? You can't just show up and expect your portion of what they also took the time to build. So it kind of irritates me when I hear women talking about how I'm not dealing with a man unless he makes less than 6 figures. With what right? I don't understand. And if men said the exact same thing about us, when they do, when they say I'm not dealing with a woman that don't make any money or that doesn't come with her own bank or whatever it is, like, I mean, that's trifling as hell. What? Why wouldn't you build together? Like, I don't understand.
Well, I'll stop you and say this. I think that once again, we have to define what established means.
Mm-hmm.
We have to define what being a woman, man is, and then going from there. Michelle Obama is the bomb.com. Forget about her political past. I'm talking about just her resume.
By herself, yes.
If she left Barack tomorrow, I do not expect for her to be building with her man. She meets a nice guy who's a sanitation guy, and he's nice, and now she's trying to invest in his food court, food truck business, and this and this. I don't believe that she would do that. I don't believe that she would do that because older women don't have the time. I don't have the time. I'm happily married. If, knock on wood, our relationship ended, and it was me, I would not have the time to fund your food truck business. I wouldn't have the time. I would not have the time, even if I wanted to. Now, I'll purchase, I'll spread the word. I'll be right on the podcast and be like, listen, Leroy's
Yeah, the food truck's gonna be on this corner.
yeah, Leroy's Rib Shack is right over here, and this and this. But no, the struggle that I would do when I was in my 20s and 30s, no.
But first of all, it's mostly women in their 20s and 30s that are talking about how they want a man that's already made. It's especially those women. I'll tell you what, I agree with you. I find that if by some chance I happen to find myself single tomorrow, I don't have time for nobody, rich, poor, nothing. I don't have any time for anyone at all. It would be the world's biggest secret, in fact, that I was single. If I was ever single again, it would be like, I'm telling you, that would be in a vault someplace. And even it's funny because even my husband will tell you that I have said that before. If for whatever reason, by hook or by crook, I found myself single again, it would be a secret because I got no time to play with anybody, rich, poor, the whole, half, handicapped. It don't matter. It's just I don't have the energy or the time for anybody else.
That part.
At all, right? So it doesn't have anything to do with, well, you know.
But we're gonna stop you real quick. You made a good point. You said it is the 20 and 30-year-olds who's saying, "Hey, I don't want to work in and do." But my question is, why are those men, those successful men, looking at those women? We just went out recently. Hey, audience, we just went out.
We don't have time for them.
Well, no. We just went out. Mm-hmm. And we seen the comedian Luenell.
Luna, yes.
Great show, laughing, ha 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 ha. And she was talking about putting some type of schooling in for women, you know, and what we should do in reference to these guys. And the one thing that kind of triggered me is the men. Even though we said that we don't have time for it, Shannon Sharpe is 56 years old. He can find somebody in his peer group that's on the same level as him, a lawyer, a doctor, or this or that. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm in my 40s, audience, but me being in my 40s, you know, I don't have to see your ass every day. Matter of fact, I don't want to see your ass every day. I want you to have your space. I want you to have your time. I don't want to be up in your ass. These young girls, they literally, let me tell you, if y'all don't know, have no young teens or no adult, they will lay on the phone. They be like, and you hear the person snoring on the other end. I'm like, what type of crazy shit is this?
No, they watch each other sleep. They're on FaceTime, watching each other sleep. It's just weird. It's weird. I can't do it. No.
Once again, why would a grown ass man go for some kindergarten bullshit? I don't have time for games.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? Is I think that men, first of all, they need to get more honest about what they want, right? Most of them. I think I do. I think they need to be more honest with themselves first, and then they got to get honest with the women next, right? And so
be honest, man.
Be honest, right? So it's so funny because you mentioned, and I've heard it said before too, and you're not the first person I heard mention it, right? That men don't really like women. So it's weird because they don't want to have conversation with you. They don't want you asking them a million questions. They don't want you up under their ass all the time. I get that. In the same breath, the same men that will tell you they don't want all these things will get real upset if they don't get enough attention from you. So they want the attention, but they don't want to give you attention. Like it's a weird thing, right? And I'm talking about, I have watched this across different age groups, right? So I have seen men that'll take a selfie, like a man, and they're taking a selfie, right? And that they in the gym and they sweating and they got the abs out and everything else, right? And they will send the picture to a female, to their main squeeze or whatever. And if she doesn't respond fast enough, they'll post it and see how many likes they get. And they'd rather get the likes from the 19, 20-year-olds and the 25-year-olds that have the time to sit there and like and comment, and you're looking so good, babe. And the wife that's busy. Weird. You don't want to talk to the wife that's busy. You don't want to hear, you want to answer no questions. You want to be left alone. You want all the time in the world to go to the gym, but you also want somebody that's going to sit there.
So what I'm hearing from you is that these men, what I'm hearing from you is these men possibly are insecure.
Oh, is that what you heard?
Okay, let's go to some of these comments though.
I'm saying get real about what you want. That's all.
We got some of these young head men. Okay.
So I also said, have a baby by me, be a millionaire. It's real shit. So
You know, it's real, and I understand that it was a big hit song, and the women are dancing and twerking to it. But at the end of the day, you know, having a child is not, oh yeah, my bad, my accident type thing, and then you don't see the kid or whatever. This is a lifelong commitment, especially if you are a decent person, right? I'm gonna be responsible up to, you know, and live up to my you know, my I don't want to say a mistake, but just live up to my responsibilities, you know. This is not something that's an accident. Like, why can't you wrap it up? I don't understand that. And then you complain that, oh, I can't believe it. And they got to change the child support system because I make this amount and she wants to take me for all this amount. Okay. If you wanted to screw her, we'll wrap it up. But oh well, that's a whole nother topic. But I suppose
it is. It's a lot going on there, right? And so Cash said, I'm not against it.
Let me go back. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me go back. I'm gonna talk about me for a second. I'm gonna talk about the mindset of an older woman. The mindset of an older woman. And I understand that there's women out there. That's go. There are women out there that's older than me, but I'm just gonna say something real quick. For all the women out there who have kids, don't want no more kids, or whatever the case may be, and that guy, let's just say you still can't produce kids, right? Let's just say you are still in the baby making age and you can produce kids. And I just happen to be single, whatever the case. I promise you coming in the door with a condom on your whole head. Like, we're not having these games at all. Like, who wants these? Enjoy your life and your money. Why you have these kids everywhere?
Yo. I mean, that, and you know what, we sitting here, we're talking about Shannon and them, and you're talking about wrapping it up. But how many women have lined up now to have babies for Nick Cannon? And it's not just the black men. How many women have lined up to have babies with Elon Musk? Oh, and how many of them are millionaires, like the song said they would be?
Well, once again, I believe both parties were not intentional. Like, unless the person fell on you and you like stuck it, like it was like a puzzle piece and you're like, boop, boop. Like, that's the only way.
I think if you fucking with Nick Cannon and you know that he's fucking half the nation raw, you being intentional. That's not an accident. Being
intentional is using your birth control. Being intentional is using condoms. Being intentional is not saying, well, I can't use it because, like, you know, I'm going to gain weight and there's no other way. And he said he loved me. And when we look like, no, I don't hear that bullshit.
I'm telling you, Kia, that they are intentionally getting pregnant. It is intentional.
Well, let me go to the next comment then. Let me just
okay. So Cash said, I'm not against interracial relationships. See, Doug and Kamala, for example. My bigger problem is when you are exclusively due to stereotypes or you're dating way down like Shannon did.
Way down.
I agree with that, Cash. I really love that comment. I really, really do, right? I actually don't have any problem with interracial relationships any more than I have a problem with you got people switching sides. You know what I mean? And everything else, right? I think that you love who you love. And I think you love who you love, right? But it's when you only intentionally love green eyes, or you only intentionally love 21-year-old barely legals. You know, I think there's,
you know what? And I gotta say this. Lord Jesus. So that is something that irks me. Because love who you love, but don't act like they're only these type of people are the ones who are treating me right. Only, like you said, the green eyes. Only the green eyes are the only ones. No, you're only looking for green eyes. I don't want to hear nothing about they out there. Yes, they are out there. You're not looking for them.
Or what they'll do is they won't say I'm looking for green eyes. What they'll say is I just can't do loud women. You know what I'm talking about? I can't do any more baby mamas.
You know what I hate? You know what I hate? Oh, I can't. Women with weave. Oh, the weave. Let me tell you who uses weave all the time with their clip-ins.
All of it. How many times?
The only person and just to deviate from the conversation for 5 seconds, TMZ posted a picture of Kim Kardashian and her daughter walking down the street with a bonnet. Well, the daughter had a bonnet and they had PJs on.
Mm-hmm.
And the comments was like trend setting. Oh my God, look what they're doing. Wait a second. PJs and a bonnet? Didn't you just say that was ghetto? It was loud.
It was.
But once again, racism is not alive anymore. Okay, let's go ahead.
So Elsa said, I mean, you just mentioned Black women and white men because they want security and stability. Actually, going back to what you were just saying here about like they say they don't want the weave. And I just said this, right? Like if you rewind the tape, I just said it, right? I think men need to get real about what they think they want, right? And what they know they want, what they're conveying they want, what they have a problem with, right? Because how many men do you know? Maybe not your husband and definitely not mine, right? Mm-hmm. That'll tell you, I hate women that wear weaves, right? I do want a woman with long hair. Mm-hmm. I want a woman that's in shape, that's in the gym, that's physically fit, right? I do want, she should be well kept, maintained. I mean, does it sound familiar to you? They should be maintained, yeah. And they should look a certain way and everything else. Then they turn right around and they're like, they also want a woman that's going to go to the beach with them, go hiking with them. Wait, hold on, those don't go together. That doesn't go together, right? You want a woman with her nails done to go hiking with you? That shit don't make no sense. What do you want? Make your mind up, right? We're not mountain climbing with these nails. Or after it took some 5 hours to get my natural hair done, I'm not going to the beach and jumping in the water with you. That is not a thing, right? So make up your mind on what you want. You know what I mean? Figure it out and then come tell us, because if it doesn't work for me, you can move on and we can establish that early. You know what I mean? Like
you said it better than me.
We can establish that early and everybody can go about their business, right? So, Elsa, he's not speaking about women about to retire. I know he's not referencing me and you about to retire, Kia. I know he's not.
You know what's so funny? Because Lynn Whitfield, Angela Bassett, Sade, mm-hmm. These are single women, just to name 3, mm-hmm. Who are single. Mm-hmm. Well, Angela Bassett isn't, but just give an example, there are many women in their 50s, 60s, and these women are in their 60s who don't have the time for it, but have the time for it, right? Mm-hmm. And they're beautiful. They're in the gym. They know how to cook. They know how to take care of business, and they will hold you down. Mm-hmm. So once again, who are these people that you're looking for? Are you intentionally going out saying, well, hey, because I'm at this country club and those women are not here, I get what I get and don't throw a fit? Or are you actually going out there trying to find women that you know that are attractive, they're respectable, good morals, talented, ambitious?
That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for something easy that they can fold and bend any way they want to and then toss aside when they're ready. That is what they're looking for.
Listen, an older woman is well seasoned and no one got time to find the Lowry seasoning. We need that shit already marinated. So no.
Already there. So, Cash said, I like how Cash and Alice are holding it down for all the Black men tonight. You know, lone 2 warriors out here willing to stick their necks out. We respect that. I respect y'all. So Cash said, you don't see a white female dentist marrying a Black janitor. Tiger Woods' ex-wife was the immigrant nanny of a fellow golfer.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, Kim Kardashian is the stepdaughter of the attorney for O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
They come up one day the way they come up too. So Alice said, because those women are walking around looking for men just like them, it's a direct match. They want their money and they have the money. They want an easy lay and these women are willing to give it.
Yeah, maybe it is that these older men are just lazy. They know that if they were to meet a doctor, a lawyer, somebody who has all these accolades or whatever, that you're not gonna come and play in Michelle Obama's face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking about the mindset. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about my mindset. If I was single right now, you're not gonna come in my face and play them games. Like we don't got the time, the energy. No games.
But a lot of women are dated by a very confident, secure, put together woman that's got her own stuff. I think a lot of men really are intimidated by that. Like it makes it that much harder, right? Because now you actually got to work a little harder to impress them. And I'm not talking about just the money. I'm not talking about just going to the fanciest places. I'm talking about finding something that would interest me, that I want to go to, or that I want to go see. You know what I mean? And so again, in a world where you and I found ourselves single for whatever reason, you know what I mean? It really wouldn't be, can I buy you a drink? That
Yeah, no,
that just it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be, what are we watching on TV?
You know what's interesting that you said that, and that is the thing. And he said they wanted the easy lay. Maybe it is that older men just don't want to put the work in, because at the end of the day, I know younger women, right? And I'm not. Let's just say 30 and under. Let's just use that. 30 and under, I know this age group, and when they're with their significant other, if they happen to be with one, or they're dating, or whatever that is, that courtship is, and I look at the match, and I'm like, what the hell? And what did he have to say to get to you?
No, they're a little easier to impress, right? I mean, to impress a young girl, like to impress somebody 25 years old, you just have to pull up in a cute car.
Not even that. Like you said, you said you got with this ninja because he had a chipped tooth. The fuck? What?
But I mean that, and that's the difference, right? It is so much easier to impress somebody that's not.
Once again, you comes back to what you said. A man needs to know what he wants. Does he want a mindset where she's young, dumb, and full of cum, or does he want somebody that's a challenge? And I think that maybe these men don't want a challenge.
No, I think that men like that are lazy. I mean, I really do think that it kind of comes back to the whole, they think that they put the work in already. They already worked the full day. They already, they're working this and what they're not going to do is work.
You can't even bring her home to your mama. I'm sorry.
No, they're not trying to. They're not interested in bringing anybody home to their mother, right? They're trying to get somebody to the room. That's what they're trying to do.
That's the thing. You literally could get anybody to the room.
No, you can't. If it's a woman that's harder to impress, she can go into the room. That's the whole point, right? If you then it checks that box, right? You're going to have to work harder, and you're like, I'm tired of working. I just got off.
Got you.
That's a different thing, right? So Cash said, due in part to our history in America, Black people don't have a widespread tradition of teaching our young men and women what dating is, for which helps you to understand the traits to prioritize. They don't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, particularly in our community, other communities, they plan to get pregnant, and they have a whole life map and everything else. For most of us, present company included, right? We got pregnant young. You know what I mean? It happened when it happened, and so on and so forth. These people really take the time to set things up and to do things right and to get the right order and the everything else. And so, no, there isn't a tradition of teaching that there. There's a tradition of kind of accidents happening. And then by the time we get older, we are just fucking tired. You know what I mean? And not trying to work that much harder for anything else. So I kind of get that.
This is a good point right here. I'm going to skip the other comment and go to Cash's real quick.
So Cash said, I wanted someone I could trust, someone that I could build something with. Those other things are horribly shallow, and is what I meant by many of us not understanding what dating and marriage is even for.
So I think that, once again, there's a difference between having a one-night stand, right, and having booty calls, and then actually building with somebody. And I think that if you are Shannon Sharpe, if you are any celebrity, if you have a net worth, estate of this and this, you have to protect your brand. These people have brands. You have to be able to protect your brand. You have to think about your brand. You now are a business. So just like on the air, you have to be politically correct to a degree about what you say, or when someone says something a little bit off the cuff, you pick up your drink and you sip it or whatever. You have to have that same intention. I think that, yes, technology is a bitch, right? Because as much as we love it, it could take away from things as well. Yeah. And now you over here getting freaky with it, with the black gravy travy and all the other shit you got going on, and choking people and whatever dog leashes you have. Now the whole world knows. Now that brand is not wanting to be dealt with. You have Disney, who owns ESPN and all those different networks, pulling away, right? Because we don't want to be associated with that. T.I. and his wife were accused and had these allegations against them. And even though they were found not guilty, and people ended up, tearing up their lawsuits and saying, "Hey, my bad, my bad." Marvel didn't come through and say, "Hey, I know we dropped you from Marvel, T.I. Well, here's your contract again." They just stayed away. And here's that money that this man has messed up with, and it's not there anymore. All because we're not intentional of who we let in our cipher. All because we're not intentional who we let in our homes. At the end of the day, you are a brand, especially if you are older and you have established this, that, and the third. You have to be intentional,
I mean, I think that we didn't even go there, and we don't have the time to dive too far into it. Another thing that's really kind of trending, we sort of touched on it briefly, kind of with Nick Cannon and all these women in his harem. That's pretty much what it is, right? Even when you look at like Neo and his, how many girlfriends he got? There's like 3 or 4 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that version of polyamory is really on the rise. And we're not talking about polygamy in the way that the Africans or the Muslims we're not talking about that, right? This is just kind of polyamory, fun, he the pimp with all the women at his table that he's taking home that night. It's a different thing. Like what we're witnessing is a different thing, right? And I really, really do feel that there's a level of self-hate and insecurity that especially these younger women are coming around with. That we really have to get serious about kind of getting to the bottom of. I find that so many younger girls, and I think you said it best, you said under 30, that their self-worth is so diminished, right? They're settling for anybody. They're willing to do anything to get a seat at the table. They don't even think of themselves as being worthy of having their own man that is theirs. I mean, I don't know about, I can speak for since we had Cash and Alice to pretty much join us all night. I don't think Cash could take 2, 3, 4 Kias. I think 1 Kia is enough for Cash. Cash, you tell me if I'm wrong, right? I know for a fact that Alice.
Likewise, I don't think Alice can take
half of one of me. I know for a fact that there's no way in the world that Alice is walking around with 3 or 4 of me in his hair, on his face, or even in his bed all the time. Like if you feel like you are enough woman, like there is no way in the world that a man would have enough energy to deal with 2, 3, 4 of me at the same time, right? But you have to be a certain type of woman to get that. And why these grown men are messing with these little girls, and we know because, like you said, Kia, you're not a woman because you got a twat. Forgive my French, right? You're a woman because you're a woman, like a complete woman. There's no way in the world that my husband would need 3 or 4 people to satisfy him every day. That sounds so foreign. Like, what is it that they're going through? What are the insecurities? The way that
one thing I've noticed about older men, I noticed about older men that about younger women and the older men dynamic, and I unfortunately know some, is that older men will mold and shape that young girl because younger women are impressionable, right? If the man smoke, now you smoke. If he cutting up a storm, you cutting up a storm. You following suit with that man. And they are very, very impressionable. You can stand by your man. That's why that little meme, and that's my man, my man, my man. I mean, this person can be towed up from the floor up, but you gonna ride and you have the banner and you're right there. And at the end of the day, self-worth is very important because ain't that much penis worth in the world to Alice and shoot chips.
Oh, she's out here winning. I can't with Alice tonight.
Yeah, they are winning. They are winning.
No, I mean, but what you even said about these men molding these women, like that physical work, like physically they are molding these women. They're taking little flat-chested girls to these doctors or sending them to these countries and buying the boobs, they're buying the hips, they're buying the ass. They are literally molding them. So they will find somebody that is not the woman. Remember that whole they know what they think, they know what they want. So they want somebody that basically looks like a mammy, but they'll take a little alpine skier and buy her the boobs and the hips and the ass and the everything else or whatever the case is, but keep that empty head. So they'll fill their body up with all these bags, but they'll keep that empty head, and they think that they've created some kind of trophy. That molding piece, it's multidimensional. That's not just a one layer thought, right? And so Alistair said these women are out here getting flown out for a reason. Their whole lifestyle is based on catering to men, not just the IG models. They're not just IG models. They're literally role models for a lot of women.
No,
A
it's
lot of
unfortunate.
girls. They are role models for a lot of girls.
And you think to yourself, is it the system that put it out there? I know that I think it was Instagram. It was somebody, some tech company who got in trouble for targeting to younger women, certain algorithms and different things. I mean, it's unfortunate,
All of
and I remember one episode that we talked about. And you said we have to kind of hold on to call on upon our elders. And some elders don't want to be bothered. They don't got the time, and I get it. But I guess I'm gonna throw my hat into it and say, hey, based on the knowledge and the tools that I have, who can, help one, teach one, pass it down. Who can I give guidance to? Who's willing to be receive the guidance? And I challenge the men as well. Me personally, I have a little group that I have offline. I text and I send messages and inspirational things, and just to kind of put it out there, like, because we all need to have this village where we're helping each other, because the young women are looking at us, right? So we have to be there. So I challenge the men to kind of do that type of mentorship, no matter, even if it's just the word of the day or whatever, because these YNs, I mean, if you could, young ninjas, they out there just doing some crazy things, and we don't want these YNs to get to be unks and elders, and they doing crazy backward stuff, as well. So we need to, get with the program. And then here comes Cash talking.
He said he only need one. I knew it, Cash. I knew I could speak for you on that one.
Well,
yeah, that's it. So.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. The last words with Liz.
Whew, all right, so last words with Liz. I'll say, if you haven't gone to see the movie Sinners, do. We didn't want to get too far into the whole spoiler type thing, so we kept it brief tonight. But sometime maybe in the future, we'll sit here and unpack it after you've given everybody a chance to watch. If for no other reason, let's support our own. If for no other reason, buy the movie ticket. At least let's at least keep that flowing this way, right? In terms of this other portion of the conversation, we weren't piling on the men tonight. Like we are saying, wise up. And if you're not gonna wise up, damn, at least wrap up. Don't put shit in writing. Come on, you should know better. Like, do not put anything in writing, right? Again, I can't say it enough. Wrap up. Accept the challenge. I promise you, a woman that will challenge you is worth it, right? Easy come, easy go. So, and I know not every man is looking for a wife, and they're not looking for somebody to spend the rest of their lives with. But you know what? If you don't spend the rest of their lives with them, you will spend the rest of your life dealing with the repercussions anyway. So just think about that. And I think that's what
I just want to let you guys know, at the end of the day, this stuff is alleged. TMZ be on it. Who knows what's going on? All I know, he's not doing the show. He stepped away from these shows. For both individuals, hopefully he's able to make amends and do what he needs to do. And for the women out there who have these allegations, they heal and they do what they need to do. But at the end of the day, I hope that just talking about the topic, for all the Black men that I do know who have established themselves and are educated and this, that, and the third, I hope that they see these things and say, hey, I don't want to be in those situations, and just move differently. Not everything that you do in the dark needs to be come out in the light. There's a lot of people out there who freaky. Nobody need to know how freaky you are. I mean, go ahead.
I had another last thought. Right? So while we were here talking about finding honorable women, this week, before the next time we see each other, there will be Mother's Day. Please do honor the women in your life that honor you with a child, and do right by them. You guys have a beautiful and blessed week.
And today is the 4th, so anybody who loves Star Wars like myself, may the 4th be with you.